Good morning and welcome. Great to have you along. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show from KELO AM in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Great to have you along. We're going to get going here shortly, just a few moments away from firing things up. A lot of things going on. So anxious to run down the big stories, both in some important statewide, or I should say state stories that are happening this morning as well. So we'll get to those momentarily. Again, thanks for being here.
NewsTalk 1320 107.9. The Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
Tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
The Biden administration has a fatal attraction to nutty ideas.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense, no prescription required.
I love the show.
I don't hate going to work anymore.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage Show.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. It is great to have you along. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Well, we just have got a lot of things that have been going on since you and I talked yesterday. At the end of the show yesterday, we had the Florida judge, Eileen Cannon, dismissing. She made a 93-page decision dismissing the Donald Trump classified documents case. This is the federal case then. Jack Smith, in his case, he is appealing that, which is not unexpected, but he was immediately appealing that. And again, 93-page decision. So this was great news for Donald Trump yesterday. Very big story. And then, of course, we've got the Republican National Convention getting underway yesterday. Day one, Donald Trump was there. He did not speak, but Trump was there. And we know he has made his selection of vice presidential candidate, J.D. Vance. Senator J.D. Vance will be Trump's choice. And this is something that a lot of people had been expecting, is that J.D. Vance might be the choice. There were a lot of names that were out there, and Trump, in his typical way, I think, not until really, late, I should say early yesterday afternoon, news started breaking that folks were being notified that they were not the Marco Rubio, for instance, was notified that he was not the pick. And then there was another, and Doug Burgum, I think, was next. So we started hearing some of these names were apparently they were out. Trump was letting them know. And it wasn't long after that, in fact, that Trump announced on True Social that Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio was Trump's pick. So he made it official at day one of the Republican National Convention yesterday, J.D. Vance being the guy. And there's a lot of praise for Senator J.D. Vance. And this is the president was asked about this as well. President Joe Biden asked about this. And he said it was Trump has chosen a carbon copy here. Trump has chosen a clone. Biden said this was just prior to boarding Air Force One. He said he's a clone of Trump on the issues, a clone of Trump. Biden, in his repetitive style of repeating what he's just said, you notice he does that a lot. So the Biden campaign responding to this story at the Washington Examiner talking. I'm more interested about, the reaction from Republicans. There's a lot of excitement, and delegates at the convention. One who told the Washington Examiner, the party is unified, the country is unified. We will roll back inflation, secure our border, and make America great again. And at breakfast meetings, then yesterday morning, party members received the news that, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, District Judge Eileen Cannon threw out the charges against Trump in the federal case, classified documents case. So again, Jack's and her ruling was a 94-page ruling, was that he was unlawfully appointed by Merrick Garland to lead the case. So this is a big win for Republicans, and you've got to wonder, in the fallout of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, if that had, this is my old thinking. You wonder, did that impact the judge's thinking on this? Clearly, she was on that road. Anyway, 94-page ruling is not something you scroll out in a few minutes. So we've got the convention underway. Donald Trump there, and again, Trump did not speak. He will speak coming up on Thursday evening, is when Donald Trump will actually take them. But he was there yesterday with J.D. Vance, and I saw reports this morning that Senator Vance immediately will be out on the campaign trail. So he's already going out and getting to work, trying to get the job done. So there was a very interesting altercation between Donald Trump Jr. and I have to be very honest. I like Donald Trump Jr. There are a lot of things about Donald Trump Jr. that I really, really that I appreciate. His honesty, his sincerity. He's got a lot of his father in him, which is what I like about Donald Trump Jr. And so, of course, they're at the RNC convention. Trump Jr. and his brother Eric then were both approached for an interview by MSNBC and Jacob Sabaroff on the floor of the convention. And I want you to hear it because it's absolutely incredible. This is Donald Trump Jr. yesterday, and the reporter again you're going to be hearing is from MSNBC, and this is the way it went down.
What change going to look like, Don? What practically your father, as president, I think you would even say was a divisive figure. What's it going to look like in the second term?
I don't think he was a divisive figure at all. I think the media created divisiveness around him. They lied about Russia collusion. They said he was a traitor. They went after him in every which way possible. If the media actually starts being an honest broker, talking about the things that he did, the prosperity he brought, the peace deals that he signed around the world, rather than the disaster that we're living right now, I think you'd do everyone in the country a big favor.
I know immigration's important to him. I covered the family separation crisis closely, where we continue to see policies like separating 5,000 children deliberately from their parents.
You mean the Obama administration?
You know they didn't do that, sir.
Sure.
Will there be a second family separation policy?
It's MSDNC, so I expect nothing less from you clowns. Even today, even 48 hours later, you couldn't wait. You couldn't wait with your lies and with your nonsense. So just get out of here.
Just get out of here. Telling MSDNC to get out of here. Oh, that's great. That's great. So meanwhile, we have the president who gave an interview to Lester Holt over at NBC. And let's go to the New York Post. You're looking for some honest reporting on what took place during this interview, and the president getting upset. And the headline of this story says, Biden snaps repeatedly at Lester Holt in combative NBC interview days after the Trump assassination attempt. And so they go on to say that he repeatedly scolded Lester Holt in this interview, saying, what's with you guys? Come on, man. Typical Joe Biden. Come on, man. And they say, he called on Americans and let's lower the temperature. Let's lower the temperature. He didn't look like did you watch any of this? Have you seen this? He didn't look like he's lowered his temperature any. He was pretty upset with Lester Holt. So, and they say the president lashed out when Holt pressed him on his disastrous debate performance. And Holt said, "Are you seeing, what viewers saw, which was moments of, frankly, that appeared to be, you appeared to be confused?" This is Lester Holt. And the president's response was, "Lester, look, why don't you guys ever talk about the 28 lies told? Where are you on this? Why didn't the press ever talk about that? 28 times it's confirmed he lied in that debate." Oh, please. This is just absolutely incredible. That's all the media focuses on. That's all the media does, is focus on this stuff. What in the world is he talking about? But it's not enough. He said, seriously, and again, he's continuing to press Holt here. He says, "You won't answer the question, but why didn't the press talk about all the lies he told? I haven't heard anything about that." Maybe that's because you're the president of the United States. I mean, you're in charge of running the country. Maybe you should be paying attention to those things. Oh, so Holt said, "No, we've reported many of these issues," Holt said. And the president said, "No, you haven't. No, you haven't. God love you." And they say that Biden at this point was fuming, which is a word that gets a little overused. So I'm gonna tamp that down. I don't know that I was fuming, but he was upset. He was irritated, clearly irritated with Lester Holt. And Biden then also talked to, we mentioned J.D. Vance, Senator J.D. Vance being Donald Trump's pick for vice president. He'd be Trump's choice should they win. And Vance had, the president pointed out that Vance had criticized Trump back in 2016. And Holt said, "Well, he said something about you." And the president's response again was, "He said some things about me, but see what he said about Trump. What's up with you guys? Come on, man," Biden says. And this just goes on. It just goes on. Holt challenged the president. This, again, I want to give credit to the New York Post. This is their story. Holt challenged the president when he launched into an extended criticism of Trump, despite calling on Americans Sunday night to lower the temperature. And Holt said, "This doesn't sound like you're turning down the heat, though." Well, no, the president said. And then he went into another diatribe against Trump. He said, "Look what I'm turning down. We have to stop the whole notion that there are certain things that are contrary to our democracy that we're for." The idea of, what the hell did he just say? Do you know? I have trouble following his train of thought. I really do. The idea that saying that I didn't win the election when every court in the land, including the conservative Supreme Court, said we won, the idea of having a loyalty pledge from all the folks, and then it kind of trailed off. So again, he doesn't even touch the question, which was, hey, you just talked about turning down the temperature, lowering the temperature. And how long did you think that would last? I mean, I really have held back on that in my comments yesterday. How long did you think that would last? I just shared the audio of this interview with the MSNBC and Donald Trump Jr. You see how long it's lasted. It was over as soon as the words came out of the president's mouth. I mean, seriously. And it was right back to business as usual. So this is what we'll say, but we're not going to change our behavior at all. And that's what's just so incredibly, I think, just stunning to so many of us. So the White House, Post Millennials got a piece this morning. Karine Jean-Pierre at the Ministry of Truth. The White House press secretary was grilled about this, whether the president would tone down his rhetoric regarding Trump being an alleged threat to democracy. And when do we ever get a straight answer from Karine Jean-Pierre? I mean, one reporter asked whether Biden regrets anything that he has said over the course of this campaign about Trump or anybody else in the political space. Does he plan to adjust his rhetoric, or is it just a call for other people to make changes? And it's the same thing. I mean, I can tell you what Karine Jean-Pierre said. I think getting any substance out of it, though, has proved impossible. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. So she said that Biden has stated it's okay to have disagreements on agendas. It's okay to have disagreements on character or record, but we cannot have violence in this country. I would agree with that, absolutely. That is something he's going to be very, very clear about. Yeah, but he just told us we've got to lower the temperature. And then he's on NBC with Lester Holt, unable to lower the temperature. So he's not doing what he says he's calling on other Americans to do. Do you not see that as a problem? Well, of course they don't, which in and of itself is a big part of the problem. We will talk more about this coming up. Because we had the Secret Service director, Kimberly Cheadle, who did an interview with ABC News yesterday. And she said the shooting at the Donald Trump rally over the weekend was unacceptable. She said, I am the director of the Secret Service, and I need to make sure that we are performing a review and that we are giving resources to our personnel as necessary. And by the way, have you seen? They have already stepped up. Secret Service has already increased their presence at the Republican National Convention. So now they're doing what they should have been doing in the first place. They're increasing their presence. And there's a lot of reaction to this that's going on social media. Be interesting to see how much of that pans out, actually becomes news. The media, of course, doesn't do their job, many of them. So we had Alejandro Mayorkas, who is the Secretary of Homeland Security, who he said an incident like this that we witnessed against Donald Trump cannot happen, he said. This is what he told CNN. That is precisely why President Biden directed an independent review, so that review, its conclusions, and its recommendations have the full confidence of the American public. We will carefully analyze in an independent and thorough fashion what occurred. Recommendations will be made. So we get from Mayorkas in the aftermath of this the same kind of doublespeak that we get on the border. I mean, we get the same kind of empty promises that we've seen on the border, on anything else. It's just mind-blowing. So also, and I'll add this, excuse me, I got some stuff in my throat this morning. I'll have more on this in trending stories coming up. The ABC News interview. Because Secret Service is saying, oh, that building that was outside of our perimeter, that was local law enforcement's job. That was local law enforcement's job to make sure that. So the country's largest police group last night blasted the Secret Service for trying to shift the blame on them. And This is the president of the FOP, Patrick Hughes. He said, whatever happened in Butler, this was not a failure of the local, state, or federal officers on the ground who responded to the shots fired at former President Trump. They acted heroically and put their lives on the line to protect everyone else at the event. We must recognize that. This is a failure at the management or command level who failed to secure an obvious weakness in the security of the event. And he said that these attempts by the Secret Service to push blame down to local police would be counterproductive, because a lot of campaign events work with you have local, state, and federal officials. They all have got to cooperate during these events. And he's saying, in order to be successful, the Secret Service will need to rely on state and local law enforcement, he says, moving forward. There is now also reporting from Pennsylvania yesterday. This is coming from a WPXI. And they discovered new details yesterday about the shooter on the roof who was there apparently for a full 30 minutes. He was on the roof for a full 30 minutes, and they verified this. According to folks who were there, and they talked to multiple sources, and that there was a suspicious person on the building who was there for 30 minutes. So again, I think what we're going to wind up discovering is going to be huge. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. In fact, I have more. I just don't have time to get to them. We got several statewide stories, local and statewide stories we'll get you details on those coming up from the Kevlo.com newsroom here in just a few minutes. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Camp and Robbins, weekdays at 2.
Yeah, I had there is and this is getting national attention, was a ruling yesterday in South Dakota about the abortion rights question being on the November ballot. And I'm going to try to reach out to Leslie Unruh and find out what they're going to do next. So also, a number of listeners of this show had reached out to me regarding a worker in the Sioux Falls School District who had written a Facebook post about Donald Trump following the assassination attempt, and she has since been released by the Sioux Falls School District. So that's also a big story this morning. So we just got a lot of things to get to. I mean, I've never come back from a vacation to more news than what I was on vacation last week. I've never seen this much news after returning from a week away.
And listen to this. Your God-given freedoms are up for the taking, and those doing the taking are the same people who've sworn to defend your freedom. They think they can control the media, hide the truth, and force their delusions onto your family. You know what they can't take away? Self-reliance, peace of mind. Got water filtration? You should. A charged solar generator? You better. Emergency food on your shelf? Get it now from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is the most trusted name in survival, and for damn good reason, too. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now and save $200 on their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. It delivers over 2,000 calories per day, plus sealed inside practically unpierceable packaging. It lasts up to 25 years. Oh, and did I mention it's delicious? Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and save
It's 6:30. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello Radio. Great to have you along. Joe Bowman's in the Kello.com News Center. Among stories coming up, Life Defense Fund's lawsuit to drop Amendment G from the November ballot was dismissed by a circuit court judge yesterday. Joe will have details on that story. And the governor is speaking at the RNC convention last night. Details on the way. There's a lot of stuff that's out there and going on. Thanks so much for letting me join you. I really appreciate it. NewsTalk is stuff. We'll run down stories that are trending this morning.
Georgia House Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene with condolences for the family of the man killed during Trump's assassination attempt Saturday in Pennsylvania.
And I pray for the family of Corey Comfortor, who was killed at the rally, and for other attendees who were wounded. Corey embodied the spirit of America First. He displayed the ultimate show of love when he shielded his wife and daughter, sacrificing his own life.
America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. A judge has dismissed a lawsuit that sought to keep abortion rights off the ballot in South Dakota. Circuit Court Judge John Pincus granted a motion yesterday that dismissed the lawsuit filed by anti-abortion group Life Defense Fund. This is a big win for Dakotans for Health, which supports the Rights to Abortion initiative known as Amendment G. Life Defense Fund criticized the judge's ruling and says it plans to appeal. Governor Kristi Noem may not be former President Trump's pick for vice president, but she was very visible during the opening night of the Republican National Convention. Like other VP shortlisters, the governor was given a primetime speech assignment. She used it to tout the state's success with the Freedom Works Here workforce recruiting campaign, which she says has resulted in thousands of new workers moving to the state.
Now, people aren't moving to South Dakota for our beaches or for our beautiful January weather. They are moving to our state for opportunity and for freedom. Now, South Dakota proved that freedom will make America wealthy again.
The governor says the country needs Trump back in the White House to restore the economy and strength of our nation. A Sioux Falls school district employee has been fired after posting a statement on social media about the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. The post was widely circulated, in which school counselor Cassie Martin stated, quote, "Shoot, if only he would have had his scope sighted correctly," end quote. Officials say her statement does not align with school district values.
Doesn't align with anybody's values.
South Dakota closed the 2024 budget year with a surplus of close to $81 million. She says the savings will be set aside to offset the cost of prison construction. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
Cloudy skies today with a few scattered showers and thunderstorms rolling in from the northwest as we head through the afternoon. Our high at 78, north winds at 5 to 10. For tonight, mainly clear, low temperature 58. Tomorrow's high a pleasant.
Trump's Truth Social stock soars after assassination attempt. What do you think? We've not seen any polling yet since the assassination attempt. What do you think is going to happen in the polling?
Talk 1320, 107.9 and Kello.com.
It doesn't happen very often. In fact, almost never. But there comes a time when social media simply cannot lie. I'm Kim Commando for T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. When Donald Trump was shot, it was one of the very few times that photographs circulated on social media and could be trusted. The photo captured the bullet in mid-flight. That split second, it tore through Mr. Trump's ear. It was taken by New York Times photographer Doug Mills. And the stunning photograph of Trump, blood on his face, fist in the air, surrounded by Secret Service, the American flag against a bright blue sky, will now take its place with the world's most historic photos. Both had one important thing in common. Social media helped push out the photographs, but those photos and their truth went around the world before any social media trolls could have a chance to doctor them. Uncommon? You bet. Go ahead, take a vacation. Win a $1,000 giveaway gift card right now at winfromkin.com. Hey friends, Kim here. You know, it seems the older you get, the savvier you become at saving money. I really hate to overspend on things, especially the necessities. But thanks to T-Mobile, I don't have to worry about overpaying for wireless service, so I've got more time and money to spend on other things. At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a month per line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, Scam Shield Premium is included, which means fewer scam calls and more tools to help you optimize and organize your mobile life. Experience all this and more with T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network. Don't miss out. Get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for $30 a month per line at T-Mobile. Visit T-Mobile.com or your local store to make the switch and save.
With auto pay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starlink, Verizon, Welcome. Plans benefits vary. See details. Capable device required for Scam Shield. Turn on Scam Block. My Block calls you.
All right.
The Kim Commando Show. Live Saturday.
Thanks so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. It's always great to have you along. Feel free to drop me an email anytime. greg.belfrage@kelo.com is my email address.
In today's fast-paced business world, building relationships is key. At Lawrence & Schiller, it's about pushing boundaries and problem solving.
And I have continued to have folks who message me through our station website at kelo.com. Just email me directly. greg.belfrage@kelo.com. Comes right to me. All right. Let's take care of some business here.
These days, the world changes in an instant.
You want to know what's happening in a hurry.
Get the latest breaking news on your smartphone.
With the free Kello AM app.
It's the way to find out right away. The app is free at Kello.com.
Kello, NewsTalk.
Big transmission problem or minor repair. Takes a specialist to know, and that's why for years I've been telling you, see the specialists at Jim's National Transmission. They're downtown at 4th and Weber. When you're having transmission problems, it's always best to go to a specialist. You see, most auto repair places will just replace your transmission. That'll cost you 50 to 70% more than if you went to a transmission specialist. So you do yourself a favor. Save yourself time and money by taking your vehicle to the team at Jim's Transmission. They know all the ins and outs of automatic transmission diagnosis. Jim's Transmission is the transmission-only specialist. Transmissions are all they do. Find them downtown at 4th and Weber and check out their website at jimsautotrans.com. You'll find a lot there, coupons and specials, and their phone number. So give them a call today. jimsautotrans.com. That's jimsautotrans.com. Jim's National Transmission downtown at 4th and Weber. Temperature. 63. .638. Got a little bit of sunshine, mostly cloudy. 63 currently at Kello. And this hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belfrage.
Well, yesterday, day one of the Republican National Convention, Donald Trump was there. He didn't speak yesterday. He will speak on Thursday, but he made this was his first public appearance then yesterday since the assassination attempt. And the crowd went nuts, and Trump just soaked up the cheers. So supporters on the convention floor sang along to a live rendition of God Bless the USA. As Trump waved to supporters, joined family members, and he was there with his running mate. It was announced yesterday that Senator J.D. Vance will be Trump's running mate, vice presidential running mate. So Trump, again, now, if you noticed, and we're seeing this at the Republican National Convention, that the chants of USA are being replaced now with fight, 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 fight. The aftermath of that assassination attempt over the weekend. And so and this is the headline at the Daily Wire: audience erupts as Trump emerges at RNC with he had a bandage over his right ear. Fight, fight, fight is the headline of this story. So the crowd immediately erupted in chants of USA and fight, fight, fight. So Trump's arrival at the convention came a few hours after he announced on Truth Social that Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio would be his running mate. And Trump made his, typically when Trump is at rallies, he enters to God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood. And he didn't disappoint. That's what he did yesterday. So there was a lot of cheers, a lot of applause. And again, folks chanting, fight, which were Donald Trump's words. That image of Donald Trump, I think that is going to be absolutely iconic. You know, seriously, I think there are certain images that are just enduring. And I think the soldiers raising the flag at Iwo Jima, and and that one of Trump with his bloody face and his fist in the air. That's just going to be an iconic photograph, I believe. So Trump was formally nominated as Republicans picked then as president and the chair of the Iowa Republican Party, saying yesterday, and Jeff Kaufman was the one to formally nominate Donald Trump. And he said, "This is a grassroots party. I'm humbled and honored to stand before all of you this afternoon. You just heard I come from Iowa, home of the first in the nation caucus, where our party's nomination process begins." He said, "Our caucus is part of a lengthy democratic process, which everyday Americans listen to the candidates, consider what they have to say, then make a profoundly important choice on who should lead the nation that we love. Earlier this year, our Republicans overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump, making it clear that the vast majority of Republicans in primaries and caucuses across the nation seconded Iowa's good judgment in a nominee." Also, Trump tapping Senator J.D. Vance as his vice presidential pick. Trump announced this on Truth Social, and he said, "I've decided the person best suited to assume the position of vice president is Senator J.D. Vance of the great state of Ohio," he said. J.D. honorably served our country in the Marine Corps, also talked about, graduating from Ohio State University. He's a Yale Law School graduate. And Trump went on to share the accolades of J.D. Vance. So Vance was pretty active on social media in the hours after the shooting, accusing President Biden and the Democrats of amplifying rhetoric that led directly to the attack on Trump's life. And the Biden campaign, they're just frothing at the mouth. They want to see a debate between Senator Vance and Vice President Kamala Harris. Should there be a debate? I would love to see J.D. Vance mop up the floor with Kamala Harris. I mean, for a pure entertainment value, is it going to impact my choice at all? No, I've already made up my mind as to who I'll be voting for, but the pure entertainment value of a vice presidential debate between J.D. Vance and Kamala Harris, the Biden campaign apparently wants it. And Senator Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, said the VP will take it to J.D. Vance. She is strong. She knows what she's talking about. And she doesn't give an inch. How do you not laugh at these people? I try not to laugh. Honestly, I try not to. Can't help myself. Also, Donald Trump met with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on Monday. And he asked Kennedy to consider the idea of endorsing Trump. Well, RFK endorsed Trump. So Politico reported this yesterday. And the campaign then, Kennedy's campaign confirmed it. They said, yes, Mr. Kennedy met with President Trump today to discuss national unity, and he hopes to meet with leaders of the Democratic Party as well. And no, he is not dropping out of the race. He is the only pro-environment, pro-choice, anti-war candidate who beats Donald Trump in head-to-head polls. Yeah. So since the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, the stock from his social media platform, Truth Social, soared yesterday. And so this was in early trading yesterday. Shares climbed about 30% to a price of $40. That marked the highest level for that stock in more than a month. Shares still stood well below a peak, though, of about $62. And so one analyst told ABC, said, the stock serves as a little bit of a proxy for sentiment toward Donald Trump himself. I think there's a resurgence of people, your diehard Trump fans and fair weather supporters, who think this is a life or death situation. We're going all in, he said. So True Social saw about a fairly, not a historic rise, but certainly significant increase. Meanwhile, what's going to happen in polls? Have you wondered about that? What will post-assassination attempt polls show? We don't know yet. But the last polling that's out there, this was polling prior to the shooting. And in it, it showed that Trump leads the president in Pennsylvania, but trails in Virginia. This is the Legacy Media poll, New York Times, Siena College poll. And again, Trump leaning Biden in Pennsylvania. It's an important battleground state, but trails in Virginia. And now again, that polling was prior to Saturday's assassination attempt. Speaking of the assassination attempt, we have the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, who was interviewed by ABC News. And she said of the shooting attempt, it was unacceptable, she said, and it's something that shouldn't happen again. So she said she was shocked and concerned, both for Trump and for the Secret Service agents who responded. She said it was obviously a situation that as a Secret Service agent, no one ever wants to occur in their career. So she said it's her responsibility to investigate what went wrong and make sure nothing like that can happen again. She said, the buck stops with me. I am the director of the Secret Service, and I need to make sure that we are performing a review and that we are giving resources to our personnel as necessary. She also responded to reports that the suspect was seen and identified. And she said, I don't have all the details yet, but it was a very short period of time. Now, again, local media is now reporting it was a full 30 minutes. It was a full 30 minutes from the time that that shooter was seen on top of the building to the time that he actually fired the shots. It certainly, in the news of the last few days, it appeared that the shooting took place, that a law enforcement officer then had approached the shooter, and that the shooting took place then immediately afterward. But as to how long he was on the building, he was apparently there for a full 30 minutes, according to several witnesses, and that's local media that's had that story. So I think there's a lot there. Other news involving Donald Trump, major win in the documents case, the federal documents case against Donald Trump, with Judge Eileen Cannon tossing the documents case. She dismissed the indictment from Jack Smith. She ruled that Smith's appointment violates the appointments clause of the Constitution. Like 94-page finding, ruling by Judge Eileen Cannon regarding this. And so Trump celebrated the news after he learned about it. He said, as we move forward in uniting our nation after the horrific events on Saturday, the dismissal of the lawless indictment in Florida should be just the first step, followed quickly by the dismissal of all the witch hunts, the January 6th hoax in Washington, D.C., the Manhattan DA's zombie case, the New York AG scam, fake claims about a woman I never met, and the Georgia perfect phone call charges, he said. So the it went on to talking about the Justice Department coordinating all these things. So Jack Smith then is expected to appeal that decision of Eileen Cannon. So no timeline for his appeal has been given so far, but it's expected that it will go to the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. But that case may then eventually and likely will go to the U.S. Supreme Court. We were talking about the secret interview with the director of the Secret Service. And the Secret Service is saying that local police were supposed to secure the rooftop where the gunman fired from, that it was the job of local police to secure that. And this is a representative then for the Secret Service told the New York Times that local Pennsylvania police officers were responsible for securing and patrolling the factory grounds, and to which then you've got police unions very, I think it was the FOP that responded to that very forcefully and saying, absolutely not, that they're trying to shift the blame. That's what it appears, is that the Secret Service is trying to shift the blame. Oh, it was local law enforcement that was supposed to do that. So I'd like to say we'll learn more, but will we? I mean, will the media report it? Also, the FBI says while we're talking about the shooter, the The FBI had been trying to get into his phone. Well, they finally had done that. And they released a statement yesterday saying that FBI technical specialists successfully gained access to his phone, and they're analyzing his electronic devices. So they didn't say how they gained access to the phone, just that it had been done. Also, the president yesterday, in his he admitted that it was a mistake for him to use the word bullseye when he was talking about Donald Trump. And this is, there was a story in Politico, and during a call to donors last week, the president said it's time to put Trump in a bullseye. And so he told Lester Holt in that testy interview that he did with NBC, the president said the use of the word bullseye, he said it was a mistake to use the word. But he defended himself by pointing out he did not use the word crosshairs. He said, I meant focus on him, focus on what he's doing, focus on his policies, focus on the number of lies he told at the debate. And then the president's just repeating lies regarding Trump that have already been debunked. One other trending story I want to share this morning outside of the political vein. Actor James B. Sicking has died at the age of 90. So he died over the weekend due to complications from dementia, according to his publicist. He is probably best known as Lieutenant Howard Hunter on Hill Street Blues. Many remember him as Doogie Howser, MD. And Star Trek fans know him as the original captain of the Excelsior in Star Trek 3. Well, he has passed away at the age of 90. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Great to have you along. 6:57. Little bit of sunshine, 63 this hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. Brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
World around the clock with Fox News.
Thank you so much, my friend, for letting me join you this morning. It's great to have you along. Please hit the like button if you like what I'm doing. Hit the dislike button. Just your reactions, comment below. Very much appreciated. Drop me an email anytime, greg.belfrage@kelo.com. And please join me for the after show coming up this morning at 9:30. Otherwise, so long until tomorrow, my friend, and may God bless.
I'm Lizzie, and this is our canary story. Make your Canaries memory this summer at the Birdcage. Tickets.sfcanary